Good morning to everyone at today's public hearing of the Vetting Commission, established under Law Number 65 of the year 2023 on the external evaluation of judges and candidates for judges of the Supreme Court of Justice. I'm Scott Bales, the chair of the commission, and I declare this session open. This hearing is being conducted under Law Number 252 of the year 2023 on the external evaluation of judges and prosecutors, amending some normative acts, and also under the Commission's Rules of Organization and Functioning as part of the evaluation process. The subject of today's hearing is Olga Cojocaru. She is a judge on the Central Court of Appeal, the court previously known as the Chisinau Court of Appeal. Judge Cojocaru, as you know, we've convened this hearing before the entire commission subsequent to your first hearing before the panel. So I'm not going to repeat some of the background that Mr. Beevil described when your first hearing was conducted. We have agreed that today's hearing will be held in closed session. That's why there's no one present in the room other than the videographers and the interpreters, and also your son, who you've asked be allowed to come and answer questions that the commission may have related to his acquisition of some automobiles. We've asked him to first answer questions because when we're finished, we'll still be in closed session to address some of the other matters, and therefore we'll excuse him after we've finished with the questions for him. And I guess I should begin too by Judge Cojocaru.
Bună. Da. Bună ziua, bine v-am găsit. Good afternoon. I'm honored to be here.
Judge, I think we will have very few questions since we do have the benefit of the prior hearing. And I'll ask Mr. Beevil to start.
Madam Cojocaru, a clarification question, or maybe a final question. Did you help your son to pay any of the installments for the leasing for the Skoda Superb? As we declared, if we are discussing about 2021, in the hearing notice that was sent to me on the 24th of January, so I acknowledged, and not once, that I paid for the casco. At the beginning of the year, my son received the information about the casco, and because the amount was high, we stepped in. So you made some payments, or at least you gave him money so that he could pay for the leasing for the casco. Yes, I acknowledge. Yes, for the casco, I acknowledge. Also, from the explanations offered previously by my son, the leasing payments that were made, and with your permission, I would like to bring some clarifications. Yes. So if we conduct an analysis of the leasing payments for 2021, the amount that was put as incurred by me, I would like to mention this. On the 19th of January, indeed, the casco was paid by me and by his father. Between the 19th of January and the 1st of March, well, on the 19th of January, I admit that I helped with the casco. From the 1st of March and 26th of March, following the questions sent by the Commission, I asked my son, because I don't have a very good relationship with my former husband, and he offered the self-declaration stating that this amount of 50,000 lei, the later installments when my son had issues. I'm sorry, maybe he was nervous because he would earn 3,000, 4,000 lei because he worked with phones, and this was unofficial. So he needed support. On the 26th, 27th, and 28th, or these amounts were regular, these were paid. I did not take part in these payments because these were paid from the money received from the sale of the Renault. So he understood that he could pay for these amounts. And he paid this. The issues arise on the 2nd of September. And there are only a few installments that he made from his salary from the bailiff's office and the repair of the phones. And these installments are paid with the contribution of my cohabitant. On the 30th of December is the last payment because on this date he concludes a comodatum agreement for the BMW. For 2022, with your permission, I would like to make some clarifications because this amount of 50,000 lei from 2022 because between the 2nd of February and 7th of March, these amounts were not paid by my son, 50,000 lei, and I'll explain why. If we look in time, this was a vision because vetting is something new for us. Moreover, I'm now in the period of the NIA verification, and in February, I also offered some information, and there were no questions. Maybe I omitted something, maybe I didn't pay attention to this, but I would like to state this to the Commission. On the 30th of December, which year? 2021. 30th of December 2021, my son concluded the comodatum agreement with the legal entity that was mentioned. So this was on 30th of December 2021, and the receipt was signed on the 20th of January 2022. He received this money from the sale of the Skoda, and on the 21st of January 2022, he purchased this car, and this is shown by the contract and the invoice. To be more convincing, well, I didn't manage, Honorable Commissioner, to do more because this was Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. But I was told that maybe today I would receive an answer from Capital Leasing showing that in 2022 we didn't contribute with any payments. And I would like this amount of 15,000 lei to be excluded from my expenses. And I'll explain why. Because the casco for 2022 for Skoda was paid by Sruchano. This was an omission, I acknowledge, but there was no point in paying the leasing given the fact that he had already sold it on the 20th of January. And with all due respect for you, I would ask you to pay more attention to 2022 to exclude this amount of 50,000 lei that was not paid as leasing by us. We didn't pay this because we had no interest in doing so. Madam Cojocaru, one other clarification. The last time in the first hearing, and today Mr. Cojocaru also confirmed that between 2020 and 2023, when these three transactions related to the cars happened, he was living with you, at least when he was in Moldova. And one question would be, who was incurring his daily expenses? His daily expenses, well, I explained in the previous meeting what could I do as a mother. I could cook, do the laundry, and take care of him. Otherwise, he cared for himself. I would like to mention related to this period related to the living space. I would like to mention once again that in that period he worked for a bailiff's office. Unfortunately, so we can prove this. It was his request to not have to have part-time studies in order to support me, because he also wanted to develop as a man. He would incur these expenses himself, because he worked at the bailiff's office. He worked as a bodyguard, as a waiter. He was doing these repairs. And one more thing, in 2022, the previous the member of the commission asked previously about his financial possibilities. And I would like to mention that in terms of the BMW, when he sold it on the 22nd of January 2022, actually, Sorochan was not a very good person. He would chase my son, saying that he wanted this assignment contract to be signed because, and he left abroad. And if we look at this assignment contract, this is signed on the 7th of March, and on the 9th of March he left the country. He didn't need to take care of this BMW. His salary was 1,800 euros. He worked there for approximately 6 months. So he wasn't using the car. Yes, he wanted to have a car just like any other man, but this doesn't mean that he would need to drive all the time. When he came back in 2022, we had financial possibilities. So in 2022, half a year, he was in France. Afterwards, he came back from France. And why did he do this?
I believe he was in the last year in the university faculty, and that it was needed for him to be present physically for studies. I want to inform you that actually he went to two faculties. He studied law and international relations, and in the law faculty and international relations, there was a part when he studied part-time, but in the last year it was needed for him to be physically present, so that here he stayed. But after he graduated, he got his diploma in August. And you can see from the documents, the excerpts, bank statements. So you can see that in 22 during March he had an income of about 9,000 euros, and in 2023 sorry, I will try to find the document. And in 2023, he left after passing the exams for October, December, November, December, January, and he had salaries for that month. His activity actually during those almost 6 months in 2022 when he was in France, he had a not very pleasant experience because you understand when you are not working officially, it's not very good. That's why in 2023 he got he got employed in France and he acquired the funds for five this 5,567 only. And coming back from France, he had some funds from France, about 2,000 euro from France. I could not say that he was not interested in working or providing for himself. I cannot say something else. One last question, Madam Cojocaru, deriving from the last statement you made. You said that during 3 years, 5 months a year, your son would go to France and have this 1,800 euro salary per month. No, it was not during 3 years, but actually yes, in 2024 too. But in March, being glad that he got rid of that Skoda and not having to pay the leasing, he went to France. So as far as we understand, he had a job that was not official. So, Chairman, I don't think that's an exception from a general rule. Most of people work there. No, we just want to understand whether it was those were formal or official or non-official incomes. So I told you he was working with a person with a partner was living in a basement. Not, I was not very satisfied by that.
Clarify. If we talk about 18,000 euros salary of your son, yes, 1,800, yeah. What period are we talking about?
Okay, I want to explain you once again.
No, just say period. 18.
Perioada v-am explicat.
I told you already that when he sold the Skoda in January, on the 9th of March 2022, he left to France for work.
Cojocaru, I just ask very simple question. What period are we talking about?
Perioada
martie,
martie,
March, April, May, June, July, and it was a period when he had some exams and came back. So it was about 6 months.
Okay, thank you very much. 6 months.
aproximativ.
Approximately, it's not exact. Up to 6 months, but definitely 5 months he had the thing.
And in that period, madam, he could save how much?
În acea perioadă cât de mult ai?
In that period, you mean how much he saved? He explained that their job was to install solar panels. And from what my son explained to me, he had about 9,000 euros in these 5 months. Up to 9,000 euros, but it's not an exact amount, sorry.
Madam Cojocaru, thank you. We have no additional questions. Before we conclude, is there anything else that you would like to present to us?
Da, sigur.
Yes, sure. Honorable Commission Chairman, I would like to submit the declarations that we talked about, but if you allow me, I did not get an information from Capital Leasing about the payments made by Sorochan, that person, of the Casco insurance. So that was that's why I say that, or I insist that this 50,000 lei would be removed from my funds because it was not paid by me. And every time it was kind of the commission doubts the financial capacity of my mom. My mother had a pension, and I don't know how correct it is to present this, but he wrote this by herself. She made some calculations of her incomes, and it seemed kind of strange to her that she had this misbalance because she was the head of chancellery for the economic court for a while. I don't know if it's accepted the format she drafted, but I have this. You allow me?
Yes, we will. We can, as I said, after the hearing, we can make copies that we can include in the evaluation materials.
Так. Vreau să prezint
I want to present the calculations, the self-declaration of the administrator from Dream Auto, and he confirmed that as a result of the trading transaction, he did not get the difference in the price from the cars, and the amount was retained unilaterally for the car parking that mediated the transaction. I also want to present the self-declaration of the seller of the BMW, and we have an excerpt from the e-declaration, the electronic declaration. With your permission, well, I admit maybe I did not have too much time, but I want to present the declaration of my ex-husband, who in 2021 confirms that paid that 50,000 for my son. I gave that 50,000 to my son in 2022. We have 2021. Sorry, we have proof that the financial capacity of my ex-husband would allow him to help my son. I don't know if it's needed to have this receipt from him. I've submitted it during the rounds of questions, but if it's needed, I can submit it right now. I can present it.
So if we already have it, we don't need to copy it again, but if we don't, we'll copy it after the hearing.
Este, doamnă președinte.
It is.
All right. Well then, we've come to the end of today's hearing. Judge Cojocaru, thank you again for your submissions and your answers to our questions. After the hearing, the commission will approve an evaluation report stating its conclusion whether the candidate meets the criteria for ethical and financial integrity under law number 252. The commission will strive to complete and approve its report and announce its conclusion as soon as possible. The hearing is now closed. Good afternoon to everyone.
Și eu vă mulțumesc.
Thank you too.